Right now, you are looking at the largest body of water in the world. You think you know what the ideal resort looks like. You are catastrophically mistaken. The Mediterranean Sea kills more people every year than any other body of water on the planet. This is not just a beach with beautiful sand. This is a combat zone where nature itself wages war against humanity. Beneath these blue waters lie radioactive dumping grounds, collapsing supervolcanoes, and currents powerful enough to snap steel ships in half like matchsticks. Why do scientists call this place a graveyard of travelers? And why do tour operators beg us not to tell you this truth? Why are we about to show you something that will make your blood run cold? August 1970. The research vessel Glomar Challenger is drifting in the very center of the Mediterranean Sea, hundreds of kilometers from the nearest shore. The sun beats down mercilessly, and the sea appears deceptively calm. A team of geologists led by Kenneth Xu is preparing for an operation that looks like boring routine work on paper. Their task sounds simple: lower a massive drilling column to a depth of 3 kilometers, pierce the soft layers of seabed silt, and extract rock samples to refine data on ancient climate conditions. No one on board, from the captain to the laboratory assistant, has any idea that within a few hours they will make a discovery that will send shockwaves through the scientific world and rewrite every geology textbook. The drill descends into the black, icy abyss. Operators watch the instruments with growing tension, expecting the familiar soft resistance characteristic of viscous marine sediments. But suddenly, the entire giant drilling rig begins to vibrate, emitting a grinding, screeching sound. The pressure gauges slam into the red zone, signaling extreme overload. The drill has struck something incredibly hard, almost impenetrable. This is physically impossible. At such a depth, in the very center of the sea basin, there should be no rock, no granite. Engineers, gripped by alarm, begin to speculate about the most bizarre possibilities. Perhaps they have struck the remains of a sunken ancient landscape or some gigantic unknown structure. When the column is finally raised to the surface, with enormous effort and at the risk of collapse, a dead silence falls over the deck. Geologists bend over the core, expecting to see basalt. But this is not stone. In their hands lies a cylinder of dazzling white material, hard as marble. It is gypsum, mixed with dense salt. But the real shock comes in the laboratory when the sample is placed under a powerful microscope. Among the salt crystals, scientists see fossilized remains of stromatolites. These are colonies of blue-green algae that can survive only in shallow water, under scorching sunlight. They depend on light to exist. Finding them at the bottom of the deepest and darkest basin in Europe was as impossible as finding a living fish in the sands of the Sahara. The crew exchange stunned glances. They realize they have just proven a theory that once seemed utterly insane and impossible. Where kilometers of water now splash and ships sail, there was once sun-scorched, lifeless land. The discovery of the Glomar Challenger meant only one thing: the Mediterranean Sea once simply vanished. Imagine someone pulling the plug from a bathtub. 5 million years ago, the Strait of Gibraltar closed due to continental movement, and the sun literally dried the sea down to its bottom. In place of water remained a gigantic pit, 5 kilometers deep. It was a blazing salt desert where temperatures reached 80 degrees Celsius, a true hell on Earth, across which one could theoretically walk from Africa to Europe if one managed to survive such an inferno. But the most terrifying part came later. The water returned. The ocean broke through the natural dam and came rushing back. Scientists call this the Zanclean Flood. Imagine a waterfall several kilometers wide, plunging from cloud-level heights. The flow of water was thousands of times more powerful than the Amazon River. The sea level rose by 10 meters every single day. The roar of the falling water was so powerful that the ground trembled across 1,000 kilometers. Everything alive that existed at the bottom of that pit was instantly wiped out by a colossal wall of water, moving at the speed of a train. Why should this concern you? Because we are in the middle of the same cycle. Africa continues to press into Europe, and Gibraltar is narrowing once again. We are living on top of a lid that could one day slam shut. Vast salt deposits left from that era make the seabed unstable, and the enclosed shape of the sea means that any catastrophe here becomes even more destructive. Waves have nowhere to go. They simply reflect off the shores, damaging everything in their path. December 28, 1908. The wealthy Sicilian city of Messina awakens in the pre-dawn haze. People are preparing for the holidays. The streets smell of coffee and fresh pastries. Fishermen in the harbor check their nets before heading out. At 5:20 in the morning, the world turns upside down. The earth emits a monstrous internal roar, like metal grinding against metal. Within 30 seconds, the flourishing city is reduced to heaps of stone and dust. Buildings collapse like houses of cards, burying sleeping residents beneath them. A thick cloud of limestone dust blocks out the sky, turning morning into night. Those who miraculously survive flee toward the sea in panic, hoping to escape the falling walls. On the waterfront, they witness a strange, almost hypnotic sight. The water in the strait has suddenly retreated hundreds of meters, exposing a filthy seabed strewn with flailing fish. People freeze in confusion, unable to comprehend the warning sign. They do not know that the sea has simply taken a run-up for a devastating blow. Minutes later, the horizon literally rises. A 12-meter wall of black water, mixed with silt, boat debris, and stones, crashes down upon the coastline with a deafening roar. The tsunami claims many of those who survived the earthquake. Water twists people, carts, and fragments of homes into a violent whirlpool of destruction. Help comes from an unexpected direction. Russian sailors from ships anchored nearby are the first to rush into the disaster zone, pulling people from beneath rubble and out of the water. When the sea finally calms, the city of Messina no longer exists. More than 100,000 people are dead. It was one of the deadliest disasters in European history. And it came from the very place where safety had seemed most certain. The tragedy of Messina was not an accident, nor the wrath of gods. It was geological inevitability. The Mediterranean Sea is a gigantic tectonic press. The African plate collides with the Eurasian plate at a speed of 2 centimeters per year. This seems slow, like the growth of fingernails, but the energy accumulating in the rocks is equivalent to thousands of nuclear bombs. The entire region, from Gibraltar to Turkey, is literally riddled with active faults, ready to rupture like an over-tightened string. The main danger of this sea lies in its shape. In the open Pacific Ocean, a tsunami can travel thousands of kilometers and gradually dissipate its energy. Here, it has nowhere to go. This is the physical bathtub effect. A wave strikes one shore, reflects, travels to the other, and amplifies itself through interference and resonance. The travel time to resort areas is only 20 to 40 minutes. Today, seismologists watch the Hellenic Arc, the subduction zone south of the island of Crete, with undisguised horror. Stress has been accumulating there for more than 1,000 years. The last time this snapped, in 365 AD, the tsunami was so powerful that it hurled massive ships onto rooftops in Alexandria, kilometers inland. In July of 1831, sailors in the Sicilian Strait noticed something terrifying. The water began to boil. Columns of caustic steam rose from the depths. The air filled with a choking sulfur stench that burned the eyes. Dead fish floated belly up to the surface, covering the sea with a silver carpet for hundreds of square miles. Within days, the impossible happened. From the boiling foam, amid thunderous explosions, a new island emerged. It was a black, smoking volcanic cone 60 meters high. The news spread faster than the wind. Britain immediately sent a ship and named the land Graham Island. Sicily claimed it as Ferdinandea. France named it Julia. While diplomats wrote protest notes, the sea solved the problem in its own way. The island began to sink back into the abyss as quickly as it had appeared. Within 6 months, the island vanished, leaving diplomats looking foolish and sailors gripped by mystical fear. Yet the story did not end there. Recently, Italian military sonar discovered that Ferdinandea did not disappear. The summit lies just 6 meters below the surface, and it is growing. Seismographs are recording increasing rumbling and magma movement. The ghost is preparing to return, and this time, its emergence may prove fatal for all of Europe. The Mediterranean Sea hides on its seabed some of the most dangerous volcanic monsters on the planet. Ferdinandea is a mere trifle compared to what lies in the Tyrrhenian Sea. There rests the Marsilli underwater supervolcano. It is a colossal mountain 3,000 meters high and 70 kilometers long. It is larger than Vesuvius and more powerful than Etna. The walls of Marsilli are incredibly fragile, weakened by hydrothermal vents. Volcanologists call it a house of cards ready to collapse with the slightest disturbance. A moderate earthquake would be enough for a massive section of the volcano to collapse downward, triggering an underwater landslide of colossal scale. Millions of cubic meters of rock would plunge into the abyss. The consequences would be catastrophic. Computer models show an instant tsunami striking Campania, Calabria, and Sicily. March 3, 2010. The luxury cruise liner Louis Majesty is calmly sailing through the Gulf of Lion. On board are more than 1,000 passengers. Suddenly, without warning, the sea in front of the ship rises. A vertical wall of water rises as high as a 3-story building. This is a water monster appearing from nowhere. The first wave crashes into the side, shattering reinforced glass. Tons of water burst inside. Then, 2 more identical walls of water follow. The liner lists sharply. In the destroyed lounge lie 2 dead passengers and 14 injured. According to all laws of marine science, such waves should not exist here. What happened is called a rogue wave. Scientists once considered them myths, but the Mediterranean has proven they are real, aggressive, and unpredictable. In this enclosed basin, storm waves have steep profiles. When they reflect off shores or collide with opposing systems, they overlap, creating a monster. September 21st, 1987. The cargo ship Riel sends out a distress signal. The crew evacuates suspiciously quickly. A few hours later, the vessel sinks. Years later, Italian fishermen haul up nets coated with sticky yellow slime. People develop chemical burns. Prosecutors uncover a truth worthy of a gangster film. The Riel was a ship of poison. The mafia used rusting vessels to dispose of toxic and radioactive waste by sinking them in the deep basins. Dozens, if not hundreds, of vessels loaded with toxic cargo lie on the seabed. Metal containers are not eternal. Salt water and pressure are corroding their walls. We are sitting on a chemical bomb. Water here renews very slowly. A full cycle takes about 100 years. Everything we dump stays with us for centuries. The Mediterranean is turning into a toxic broth. After WO2, thousands of tons of aerial bombs filled with mustard gas were dumped into the Adriatic Sea. Now they are leaking. September 10th, 2023. Residents of Derna heard a low, vibrating roar. 2 dams upstream burst almost simultaneously under monstrous pressure. A wave as tall as a 7-story building slammed into the city at 3 in the morning. Entire districts were erased. More than 11,000 people were killed. The cause was Storm Daniel, a metacane. Due to global warming, the sea has turned into a heat accumulator. Water temperatures regularly exceed 30 degrees Celsius. Metacanes possess monstrous power. They arise suddenly and strike unprepared coastlines. Storm Daniel proved the old rules of climate no longer work. The most terrifying transformation is biological invasion. Hundreds of predatory species from the Red Sea poured into the Mediterranean after the expansion of the Suez Canal. The silver-cheeked pufferfish contains a deadly neurotoxin with no antidote. It reproduces at a terrifying rate, destroying commercial fish at the root. The Mediterranean Sea as we knew it is dying. In its place, a new toxic and hostile ocean is being born, one in which humans are no longer at the top of the food chain. Humanity is fragile and arrogant. The abyss is staring up at us from below. When this cycle ends, the sea will once again become the sole master of these lands. Thank you to everyone who stayed with us until the very end. If you found this documentary interesting, please support the channel by leaving a like and sharing this video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our next investigation. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next mystery.